John chapter 4, verse 5 says, "So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the property that Jacob had given his son Joseph." The he being referenced here is Jesus, and that sentence actually starts in verse 4 that says he had to travel through Samaria, and then verse 5 picks up, "So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the property that Jacob had given his son Joseph." A lot of interesting things here. This is the physical place where Jesus is. He's come to this town, this place, and then there's a statement about Joseph and Jacob and some property and what's going on. We're going to see in the very next verse that Jacob's well was there. There's a lot of history, a lot of connection to the Old Testament, a lot of things going on there. So it's setting the scene in a real place, in a real time. This is what's going on. These people, these Samaritans, did have a connection to the Jewish heritage and story. And then we're going to see even further as the Samaritan woman speaks, like, hey, we do, she says, have this connection, but we have this sort of other way of worshiping. And so the stage is being set here for a story, and that story is set in the backdrop of some amazing things that happened in the Old Testament of God's people, bringing all these people together. God was creating those people, Joseph and Jacob, to be a nation of holy priests that would reach the world, extend his message to all people, and here we are in Samaria, where the Jewish people don't want to go, where Jesus just had to go, and he just so happens to be sitting right there at Jacob's well. And as we pick this story up, we're going to get a little bit more detail. It's going to be noon and hot, and this lady's going to show up, but what's happening in this story right now is that Jesus is setting the stage for a divine encounter to talk with the Samaritan woman, but I think also to show all those who would read this text in the future how remarkable his story really is.